Oh, hello there. Welcome to the Artful Crew. I'm just outside reading some stories with my kids. I'm reading Rosie's Walk, which has got me thinking. I really love Pat Hutchins' beautiful, interesting illustrations. What do you think? So I think today we're going to draw together and we're going to draw Rosie the chicken. So let's first go and have a look at some of my own chickens to get some ideas of some really interesting chickens. Come and have a look. So this little chicken is called Lacey and the big white one is Daphne. Have a look at their feathers. They might help you get some ideas and some patterns later on. This is Josie and it sounds like she's just laid an egg. So I hope you enjoyed meeting some of our little chickens and hopefully they'll give you some inspiration when we go to draw our own little Rosie. So what will you need today? Today we're going to need to have some white paper. It's best to have some watercolor paper or thick card, a black marker or texter, and something to color in, whether it's colored pencils, paints or crayons. Today we're going to start off by having a look at Pat Hutchins' illustrations and getting some inspiration from the way she illustrates her books. First thing I notice is the colour palette. She has used a very limited colour palette with only a few different colours and shades of those colours. So what colours can you notice? Well, I can notice yellow. I can see red. That's a bit of a pinky red and there's another more red there. Orange over here. And then it's quite a warm green, which fits into this, the yellowy, orangey palette and the browns. So they're all very similar tones. Now Pat Hutchins has also used the same colour palette for objects that wouldn't really use those colours, like the water. It's a light yellow, not a blue, but it shows still the contrast between the grass and the water. The second thing that I really notice about her beautiful illustrations are the patterns. Now, when we look at foxes and chickens and goats, and mice, they don't have these type of patterns on them, but she's used pattern to show texture. And all her different objects in her pictures and her illustrations have a different pattern. So the hay, and it shows it's very wispy. She's used really cool, interesting lines and almost like little triangles to show a pattern for the fur of the fox. She's got a chevron type of pattern for the feathers on the tail and the wing, and then dots, lots of little lines and swirls for the fur on the goat. Let's see if we can find her trees, the flowers. Now, all of her trees look very similar in that regard too, that they have. I think we saw some really cool ones at the front here with the pear. So a row of pear, a row of leaves, a row of pear, a row of leaves, which looks really, really cool. So I want you to remember some of these ideas for when you come to putting your chicken into your environment. She's also, another thing that she's also done is that because she's used quite a simple colour palette, some things aren't coloured in, okay? And that can help show contrast. For example, contrast between the ground and the hills or the sky. So not everything has to be coloured in. All right, for today's Let's Draw Together, I'm actually going to ask you to do something that sometimes is a little bit difficult, and that is to not use your grey lead or your pencil, that you can rub out, I'm going to ask you to try and use a black texter or marker and draw straight away. Now, there's a really good reason why sometimes it's good to draw without being able to rub it out, and that is to grow confidence and to get used to feeling okay with mistakes and thinking about how you can change those mistakes into something else. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to draw the Rosie, the chicken, in the story. So let's get out our markers. Now, when we're going to draw it, we're going to think, okay, the ground is down here. We want Rosie to be in the middle, or almost like walking out of the picture. You think about all the pictures in the story, she's almost walking out of the page. So we're going to have her over here. So I think we're going to start about a hand's width away from the edge of the paper. And we're going to start with a beak. So we're going to draw a little triangle. So we've got our little triangle pointing towards the end of our paper. And in that, we're going to draw a little curved line in the middle. From there, we're going to draw a U shape and the beak is going to be in the middle of the U shape. So we're going to draw a U shape. And that is Rosie's head. I'm going to draw a little eye in the middle. All right, now we're going to draw a U shape to connect Rosie's head. Like that. Now we're going to do her comb, which is at the top of her head. And in the illustrations, they're almost like a wave. So we're going to start where these two lines meet, and we're going to do a nice big wave, curve over her head. And then 3 little zigzag waves down to over here. I might even make... We've got 3 zigzag points there. Next, we're going to do the a tear shape underneath her chin. So we're going to start just underneath her beak and go down and around like that. And that's her, I have to figure out what they're called. Okay, next we're going to start doing her back. So we're going to go back up to where her head and her comb join in. And we're going to do a nice curve down and up. And there's her back. All right, we're going to come back down and do the bottom half of Rosie. So we're going to go have I think her neck's here, but we can't see all of it because of her gobbly bit down the bottom. And we're going to go down and around just slightly. And now we're going to do part of her foot, and we're going to do a little U shape and then meet up there. And then we're going to come down and do the bottom of her belly and just another nice curve. So it's going to be sort of matching the curve here under of her back, like that. And then we're going to do another small U shape for the next leg. And that's where her feet are going to be coming out of, and her legs. Okay, so now we're going to go up just a little bit, nice curve up. And then we're going to join it with a small curve, a long curve actually. There we go. Now we need to think about her tail. And her tail is going to come off and around like this. So we're going to start where her back ends, and we're going to go up nicely and curve around. So up and around. And now we're going to think about her feathers. So not coming all the way, just a bit further up, but we're going to do the same type of line over here. So up and around and curve. Again, up and around and curve. Up and around and curve. I'm going to do that a few more times, maybe one more time. Up and around and curve. And now we're going to do her last tail feather. And we're going to start down the bottom here. And we're going to go almost like a V shape, like that, a curved V shape. All right, now we're going to do her feet. So for her feet, we're going to do 2 straight lines coming out of her little leg here. So 1, 2. And now chickens have 4 toes with claws on them, but one of them is actually behind the foot. So we're going to do a curved line there, and then we're going to do a bigger one on this side and then draw 2 lines in it. So a big curve there and then 2 lines in it to show her foot. And we're going to do a similar thing on this leg. So 2 lines down, and we've done them apart so that it almost looks like she's walking, because in a lot of the pictures she's walking off and she's unaware that the fox is behind her. So once again, we're going to do the claw, and you can always do little claws on yours. Behind, nice and skinny, and then her one's in front. There we go. Now she's missing one thing. What is she missing? She's missing her wing up here. So for that one, we're going to go right in the middle of her body, and we're going to do a nice big curve. And then we're going to go around and do a similar thing to what we did to the tail. From here, we're going to curve around, curve around, curve around. And this one, we're just going to come up there. We're also going to do some more inside of the wing, sort of almost to meet this. So curve around and touch, curve around and touch, curve around and touch, and just curve around. All right, now if you want to, you can... Now it's time to have a think about what you want in your background. Do you want to have some trees, some hills, a lake, a field with different farm vegetables in it? Have a think of what things you might like to use, and think about the patterns that you might use, like we talked earlier on today. Our final step is to paint or colour in our Rosie's Walk illustration. I've chosen to use a limited palette, just like Pat Hutchins, but I've chosen to use a few different other colours. I've chosen to use purple and blue and green. And see how it still looks very similar, but it has a colder feeling to it. Thanks for coming along with me and creating your own Pat Hutchins inspired Josie illustration. I hope you had fun, and I can't wait to see what you created. So don't forget to email me and share it on social media so I can comment and like. Bye, and see you next time.